Well, you know how they say, they on the left, those are Chicken Noodle News and MSNBC. Oh, it's these radical right-wingers that are domestic terrorists and so forth. Really? Here's what I've seen lately. And you correct me if I'm wrong. Here's what I've seen. I've seen 2 attacks on ICE facilities at the border. One from a Michigan man who was shot dead here just a few days ago. Don't know why he traveled to McAllen, Texas to attack an ICE facility. A few days later, 11 now people arrested for attacking an ICE facility not too far away from the event in McAllen. Yesterday, law enforcement officers being attacked openly while they're trying to enforce removal orders, deportations, if you will. And it's the right that's violent? Give me a break here. Join me now is Congressman Tim Walberg. Of course, he represents Michigan's 5th Congressional District. Congressman, nice to see you today. Look, this is out of control. And these people that are attacking ICE facilities should go to jail for life. I mean, and yesterday, I don't know if you saw this one at this marijuana facility in California happened late yesterday. At least one person firing a handgun, they believe, a $50,000 reward out there. We need to drop the hammer on these people. We need to make some examples here, Congressman. Welcome to the program. Your thoughts?
Well, good to be with you. Absolutely. I mean, on January 6th, remember that brouhaha that went on?
Yeah.
Sadly, went on, but the only shot fired was by a liberal police officer, a Capitol police officer who shot an unarmed citizen. In this case, you've got armed citizens, maybe some illegals even, who are shooting at police officers, Customs and Border agents, ICE, doing the job simply that they've been given to do by law and enforcing laws that ought to protect our country. And the left, liberals, Democrats, and that's synonymous right now. A Democrat is a liberal, and sadly, in some cases, a clear socialist. They are the ones that are fighting back at this government and causing mayhem that never took place from the conservative side of the aisle. So it has to be stopped, not just because they're Democrat, liberal, socialist, but because they're anti-American and going against what this country stands for.
Yeah, they're attacking us. I mean, look, we hire these people and ask them to do a job. In this particular case in California, go to this facility. We believe there are a lot of illegals working there. Apparently there are. I mean, they're using helicopters to find these people that are running through the fields trying to escape because they're here illegally. Look, I heard Donald Trump say here in the last couple of days, put forth an idea that I'm okay with. If you're going to be a farmer and you have these people and you've known these people for a number of years and he's been here, whoever it is for a number of years, you take responsibility for these people working on your farm. And it's your responsibility if for some reason they get jammed up or do something wrong. I'm okay with that. But have some path towards legality, not citizenship, but legality to work here. I think I'm okay with that conversation. Your thoughts?
I think most people are. And what has held back in doing that is because we had 4 straight years of total openness at the border. They talk about 9 million illegals here. I would guess that it's approaching more like 20 million illegals that came in during those 4 years. There's no way we can talk about true immigration reform, working with the H programs, for instance, to make it simpler to get farm labor, hospitality labor, construction labor, where there's a need and you don't have American citizens that'll step up to the plate and do the job. With what we did with one big, beautiful bill, we've given more opportunity to push some of these people who have been freeloading on the system because we've offered it to them with welfare, with Medicaid, that they didn't deserve. They were able-bodied, they could get out and work, but they chose not to. Maybe we'll have some opportunity now to see more homegrown workers in the fields or in the construction areas. But
2 things I'd like to point out there. You're so spot on here. 2 things I'd like to say about that. First of all, you don't actually have to work. You could volunteer. You could take an online class and qualify. This is how easy they've made this. You could volunteer at a food kitchen and give away free food for 3-4 hours a day, and maybe get a meal for yourself if that's what you really need. We're talking about 80 hours a month, very part-time, 80 hours a month, and take an online class, you qualify. So that's one part of it that I think has to be identified for people to understand this requirement to work, not a big deal. And the second thing I would say about that, there is not a single sector in America's economy where migrants or illegals are the majority of the people working, proving this whole idea that Americans won't do jobs is false. Of course, Americans will do jobs if they have the opportunity, but a lot of these people are working so cheap that Americans are pushed out of the job market because they won't work that cheap. Your thoughts?
Well, that's true, but we have also the alternative position where you have farmers that have the products that they produce, the prices are established for them. And so the ability to say, okay, I'll increase the wages in order to get these people who won't work unless they have a certain level of wage, that can be a challenge. So again, there's where the push comes in being able to have a workforce that's legal, that's wanting to do the job and will do the job, and have the basic requirements that employer, small business especially, can stay alive in the process. But if we have a system that the Democrats wanted to keep by their votes against the largest spending cut in the history of the United States, a vote to support the largest tax increase in the history of the United States, that's what the Democrats did in their vote against the big, beautiful bill. That's the challenge we have in America. And until we get it right in saying that Americans don't work for the government works for Americans, we will right size that. We will give the opportunity for Americans to keep their pocketbooks full to do what they want to do with. And also, we're going to make sure that there are legal citizens in this country or legally qualified workers in this country. We're not going to get it right. So I'm glad we have a start on it. And again, I just don't understand why my Democratic colleagues were supporting waste, fraud, and abuse of taxpayers' dollars by their vote against that legislation.
Let me ask you about something else while I've got you here. Got about a minute and a half left here, Congressman. These rescission bills that are coming now to defund NPR and PBS, one of the things on there, cut $9 billion here, $10 billion here. The Democrats screaming bloody murder. Why would we fund NPR and PBS? They get about 10%, 12% of their funding from the taxpayers. Why shouldn't they compete just like I have to? I don't get a check from the government because I'm broadcasting here with you today. Let's put them out there in the free market, see how they do. Shouldn't we do that?
I think we ought to. I really do. And in fact, when you see that entity of public broadcasting, it's totally liberal. And you look at the philosophy that they produce and send out. It goes against the free market approach, capitalism, and the freedom of opportunity to hear all sides of the story. That isn't something that you get the advantage of. That's not what AM FM radio gets the advantage of. And we all get that free of charge. But PBS, we pay for it through our tax dollars. And in many cases, they work against any type of conservative thought. So, no, I say the president has that opportunity. He's the chief executive officer of the country. If we want to turn him down and override things, we can do that through the congressional approach. But if he is trying to administer his government that he's in charge of as a CEO with 77 million people that gave him that job, far more than the numbers that gave me my job, that ought to be his opportunity.
Congressman, always good talking to you, my friend. Have a happy Friday and a great weekend. Appreciate your input always.
Thanks so much, and you too.